Hey everyone! Ready for a deep dive into choosing the right university for studying abroad? I know it can feel like a lot to figure out, but that's why we're here. To break it all down, we've got a ton of articles, expert advice, even stories from students who've actually been through it, all about finding that perfect fit.
What's so interesting is how often people get stuck on university rankings.
Oh, totally. You see like a top 10 school and think, okay, that's it, done. But
Right.
our sources say it's way more complicated than that. What do you think?
I mean, rankings matter, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. Imagine you're, super into history. A university like Cambridge, with its amazing libraries and history programs, might be way better than a tech school. Even if that tech school is ranked higher overall, it's about matching the program to what you actually want to study.
It's like assuming the best bakery automatically makes the best pizza. Rankings matter, but they're not the whole story. Okay, so before we get lost in daydreams about academics, there's something else super important. Making sure your degree is actually
Legit.
legit. Exactly.
Yeah, you're talking about accreditation. It's huge. Can you imagine spending years getting a degree only to find out it's not even recognized? That's where accreditation comes in. Think of it like a quality check. It makes sure the university meets certain standards.
So does that mean not all accrediting bodies are the same?
Exactly. Some are specific to certain fields or even regions. Like if you're planning to work in the U.S. after graduation, you want to make sure the university is accredited by an agency the U.S. Department of Education recognizes. You can actually check this stuff on the World Higher Education Database. It's called WHED.
Oh, wow. Okay, WHED. Got it. So rankings checked, accreditation confirmed. But studying abroad is about way more than just classrooms, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about immersing yourself in a whole new culture, a new way of life.
Okay, so this is the fun part. Location. 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 And I don't just mean picking between a big city or a quiet countryside.
Great.
It's about matching the university's whole environment to who you are.
Imagine yourself, like at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. Mountains, ocean views.
Yeah.
Perfect for someone who loves being outdoors. But if you're all about that finance world energy, maybe a university in London is the better call.
Ooh, I can already picture myself in a London cafe or hiking those Vancouver trails. Okay, but before our wanderlust gets out of control, there's the not-so-fun side of things. Money.
Reality check.
Yeah, tuition, living expenses, travel. It all adds up so fast.
It really does. That's why research is key. Figure out the total cost, not just tuition. And don't forget about scholarships.
Scholarships.
Right.
There are tons of them out there.
Tons. There are the big sites like scholarships.com and FastWeb. But a lot of universities also have their own scholarships, specifically for international students. And get this,
What?
some countries like Germany and Norway, they offer free or super low-cost tuition for international students, no matter where you're from.
Wait, free tuition. That's a game changer. There's got to be some fine print, though, right?
Of course, there might be specific programs or requirements, and living costs in those countries can be high. But it's definitely worth looking into, especially if you're trying to keep costs down.
Okay. Free tuition in Scandinavia is officially on my list. So we've got academics, location, finances. But you're not going abroad just for a degree. You're going for the whole experience. So how does a university prepare you for the real world, not just the classroom?
Career support, that's a big one. Look at internship programs, career services, alumni networks, and industry connections. These could be huge when you graduate.
It's like getting a head start on your career while you're still learning.
Exactly. The University of Melbourne in Australia. They're known for their industry partnerships, so students get real-world experience while they study. Or in the tech world, universities like MIT and Stanford. Incredible connections to Silicon Valley. The right university can open those doors for you.
So it's not just about getting a degree, it's about getting the right experience too. But studying abroad, especially in a new country, it's not always a walk in the park. You've got culture shock, maybe a language barrier being far from home. What about support beyond the classroom?
That's crucial. A lot of universities really prioritize student well-being, especially for international students. They have counseling, cultural adjustment programs, peer mentoring. It's all about making you feel supported in this new place.
It's like finding a home away from home.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any countries known for being extra welcoming to international students?
Canada. They have a great reputation for supporting international students. They've got this whole system to help students adjust, from resources before you even leave to on-campus support when you get there.
So it's about finding that balance between tough academics and having support when you need it. Speaking of personal experiences, we found this amazing story about Anaya. She's an aspiring engineer from India, and she used all these factors to choose her university.
I love her story. It really shows how thorough research and a clear vision can pay off.
So Anaya knew she wanted to study abroad, but she was overwhelmed by the choices. She knew rankings weren't enough, so she dug deeper. Scholarships, job placement rates, even the specific expertise of the engineering faculty at different universities.
And she ended up at a university in Germany that ticked all her boxes. Great academic reputation, generous scholarships, and a fantastic internship program. She even got a job with a top auto manufacturer because of it.
Wow, that's incredible. It just shows that with planning and some determination, studying abroad can be life-changing. And Anaya's success brings up another important point, getting advice from experts.
Totally. There's so many resources out there to help you figure this all out.
Okay, so beyond what we've talked about, where should people go for extra guidance?
Well, there are education consultants like Dr. Jane Mitchell. They specialize in helping students choose study abroad programs.
What about hearing from students who've actually done it? Are there places to connect with those people?
Definitely. YouTube is full of channels with study abroad tips. You can find students sharing their whole journey, giving advice, answering questions. It's really valuable.
Those real-life experiences are so helpful.
Absolutely. And everyone's journey is different. What worked for Anaya might not work for someone else. So take in all the advice you can, but trust your gut and choose what feels right for you.
That's such good advice. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but we're just getting started. In part 2, we'll dig into specific strategies for narrowing down your choices and making that final decision. But before we move on,
I want you to think about this, now that you've heard all of this. What parts of a university experience are most important to you? What are your must-haves? Keep those in mind as you continue your research.
all right, listeners, take a minute and really consider those priorities. We'll be back soon to help you navigate the next step of your study abroad adventure.
Welcome back. Did you have some time to think about what really matters to you in a study abroad experience?
Hopefully. Now we can get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, so step 1, defining those academic goals. What subject are you truly passionate about? What skills do you want to learn? And what are your dreams for after graduation?
Dream big here. Like imagine becoming a marine biologist studying coral reefs in Australia. Or maybe you're an art history buff and you're picturing yourself exploring museums in Italy. Your academic goals are like your compass.
Oh, I love that. Setting that destination in your GPS. You got to know where you want to go before you can figure out how to get there.
Right. And just like a GPS might give you different routes, there might be several universities or programs that fit your vision. Stay open-minded.
Okay, so academic destination, locked in. How do those rankings and accreditation fit in now?
Think of them like filters to help narrow down your choices. Rankings can be a starting point, but remember to look beyond the overall ranking. Focus on how universities do in your specific field.
So if someone's into environmental science, they should look for universities with top environmental science programs, even if the university overall isn't like top 10.
Exactly. You might find a university that's ranked 50th overall, but has an amazing environmental science program. Cutting-edge research facilities, incredible faculty. That could be a much better fit than a really prestigious university with a weaker environmental science department.
It's all about finding those hidden gems. But doesn't focusing on a specific program's ranking make it harder to compare universities overall?
That's a good point. You need to balance your priorities. If a well-rounded university experience is super important, you might want a university with a good overall ranking A&D, a strong program in your field.
It's a balancing act. And don't forget to make sure those universities are accredited by reputable organizations while you're comparing rankings.
Right. Accreditation is key. It's your guarantee that the institution meets standards and your degree will be recognized.
Okay, academic goals, check. Rankings and accreditation, check. Now what about taking a peek inside the classroom? What's the vibe like?
Time to dive into the course catalog. Look beyond just the program titles. Check out specific courses, modules, and electives.
Kind of like browsing a menu at a restaurant. The atmosphere might be amazing, but you want to make sure the food is actually what you're craving.
Love that analogy. Some programs are more hands-on. Maybe they have research projects or study abroad exchanges built in. Others might be more theoretical or structured.
So matching the program structure and learning style to what you like. Some people love lectures, others prefer projects and hands-on stuff.
Exactly. And while we're talking about exploring, don't forget about location and campus facilities. Start picturing yourself living and learning there.
This is where it gets really fun. The city, the culture, the whole vibe of the campus. It's all part of the experience.
What kind of environment are you picturing? Sunny California campus close to beaches and city life? Or a cozy European town with cobblestone streets and cafes?
Oh, and don't forget about practical stuff like housing,
Mhm.
dorm life, sharing an apartment, finding your own place.
Right. And transportation. Could you get around easily with public transport, or do you need a car? These things all affect your daily life.
It's about finding a place where you'll thrive academically and personally. And speaking of personally, what about clubs, activities, and campus life in general?
Such a good point. A fun campus life can make a huge difference. Are there clubs or sports teams that match your interests? Social events? Cultural activities?
It's about finding your people, trying new things, having a social life outside of studying. Studying abroad is more than just hitting the books.
Totally. It's about embracing the whole experience, making memories and friendships. Okay, but before we get too carried away with all the fun stuff, let's talk about actually getting into these universities.
Reality check time, admission requirements, and acceptance rates.
Every university has different criteria. Make sure you're a good fit academically. GPA requirements, standardized test scores like IELTS or TOEFL for English proficiency letters of recommendation, and usually personal essays too.
So do your homework and make sure you're eligible for each program.
And even with amazing grades and a perfect application, be realistic about acceptance rates. Some universities are really selective.
If a school has a 5% acceptance rate, your chances are slim even if you're a rock star applicant.
Right. Manage those expectations and have some backup options. Apply to a mix of schools, including some safety schools, where you feel good about your chances.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And this is a good time to think about finances again.
Yeah, we talked about budgeting for tuition, accommodation, living expenses. Now it's time to get into the details.
Okay, let's do some math. Tuition fees, visa application costs, health insurance, travel expenses, books, and materials. It adds up so fast.
And don't forget daily living costs. Rent, groceries, transportation, entertainment. Those can change a lot depending on where you are.
Yeah, a coffee in Paris is probably way more than street food in Bangkok. Researching average living costs is important for making a realistic budget.
Exactly. And remember, scholarships and financial aid can make a huge difference. We mentioned scholarships.com and FastWeb, but also look at options from the universities themselves, government scholarships and grants.
Don't cross a dream university off your list just because of the price tag. Research those financial aid options. You never know what you might find.
Right. Remember those countries with free or low-cost tuition. That could really change your budget.
Okay, we've covered so much. Academic goals rankings, curriculum location, admission requirements, financial planning. We've got a good roadmap for choosing the perfect university, but what's the next step?
Time to move from research to action. Get some guidance and make your final decision.
Sounds good. Who are the best people to talk to now?
Start with the universities themselves. Really explore their websites. If they have virtual open days, go to them. You'll get a feel for the campus, meet faculty, and maybe even chat with current students.
That's a great way to see if the university's personality matches yours. What else?
Contact the university's International Admissions Office. They're pros at guiding students through the application process. And don't underestimate personal connections. Talk to people you know who've studied abroad.
Friends, family, teachers, mentors. Anyone who's been there. Ask about their experiences and advice for choosing a university.
Those personal stories are so valuable. They give you a real glimpse into studying abroad beyond what you see in brochures and on websites.
It's like having a mentor who's already walked that path. What about online communities and forums? Those must be full of info and support.
Absolutely. Tons of Facebook groups, Reddit communities, online forums where students share their experiences, tips, and advice. It's a great way to connect with people going through the same thing you are.
It's like a global network of study abroad buddies. Ask questions, share worries, celebrate successes together.
And as you get all this information, remember to trust your intuition.
That gut feeling. It's important.
So important.
Yeah.
If a university feels right, even if it doesn't tick every single box, go with your gut.
It's your adventure. Find a place where you can learn, grow, and thrive.
Exactly. As you get close to making that final decision, celebrate how far you've come. You've researched, reflected, sought guidance. You're doing great. But before you hit submit on those applications, there's one last thing.
Oh, a cliffhanger. What's the final piece?
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into choosing the perfect university for studying abroad. We've talked about so much. finding those awesome programs, budgeting for life abroad. But before you hit that send button on your applications, what was that last crucial step?
It's application time. This is your chance to show universities who you are beyond just grades and test scores.
It's about showing your personality, what you're passionate about, the things that make you you. But how do you actually do that?
Think of each piece of your application as telling a story. Your grades and scores show your academic skills, of course. But the essays, letters of recommendation, even extracurriculars, those bring your application to life.
It's like painting a whole picture, not just a quick sketch. Yeah. Your personal essay is where you really share your story. Why study abroad? Why is this university, this specific program, the one for you? What are your goals?
So it's about making that personal connection, being genuine and letting your voice come through. What about letters of recommendation? Any tips on those?
Ask teachers or mentors who know you well, people who can talk about your strengths, work ethic, and potential. It's not just about getting praise, it's about giving the university a glimpse of who you are as a student and a person.
And make sure to give them plenty of time. Don't want to rush them or miss a deadline. What about extracurriculars? Do you have to list like everything you've ever done?
No way. Quality over quantity is key here. Choose activities that show leadership skills, commitment to something, or your unique talents.
So like if someone's been volunteering at an animal shelter for years, that shows dedication and caring?
Absolutely. It goes beyond just, I was in this club. It shows what's important to you and how you've made a difference.
Okay, so applications are in. Now we wait. What do we do while we wait? How do we do with the nerves?
Celebrate. You've come so far. All that research and effort, you should be proud of yourself.
Totally. A little pat on the back is definitely deserved. But what about those pre-decision jitters?
Keep exploring. Read about the universities, connect with other students online, and really picture yourself on that dream campus. Visualization can be powerful.
It's like mentally preparing yourself for the real thing. But what if those acceptance letters aren't what you were hoping for? What if you don't get into your top choice?
First of all, don't panic. There are so many amazing universities out there. It might feel disappointing, but it's not the end of the world.
It's not. And remember those backup options. This is when they come in handy.
Exactly. Sometimes those detours lead to even better adventures.
It's like taking a different path through the forest, right? You might find something amazing you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Totally. Be open to new possibilities and trust that you'll find the right path. Choosing a university is just the start of your study abroad journey.
That's so true. There will be challenges and amazing moments along the way. But immersing yourself in a new culture, expanding your horizons, pursuing your passions, that's priceless.
Soak it all in, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Perfect advice to end on. It all comes back to finding what's right for you.
We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge, the tools, and the inspiration to choose a university that's perfect for your study abroad adventure.
So go out there, chase your dreams, and remember, we're cheering you on every step of the way.